I hereby call the City of Buellton City Council meeting to order for August 10th. If everybody would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Linda, roll call.
Okay, Councilmember King.
Here.
Councilmember Mercado.
Here.
Councilmember Rife.
Here.
Vice Mayor Andrusik.
Here.
And Mayor Sierra.
Here. Thank you very much. Do we have any reordering of the agenda today?
No, ma'am.
Righty. We're moving on to public comments. If anybody wishes to speak regarding any agenda item or any other item they feel like talking about, now's the time to turn in your speaker slip. I do have 2 slips right now. Our first speaker is Michael Baker.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Michael Baker, and I'm the CEO for United Boys and Girls Clubs here in Santa Barbara County. And I'm proud to report to you that we are actually in Buellton now. So we actually are opening a facility.
Yay.
Yes, yes, that's a round of applause from the mayor. That's a good sign. That's a very good sign. We are going to be opening at Hanada Middle School after school, running a program there. And it's a great partnership between the Boys and Girls Club and the Buellton Unified School District. And I want to thank Randy for being here. He's been a tremendous asset to our organization. Doesn't always work as smoothly as it's worked here in Buellton. I'm also proud to report to you that I am a resident of Buellton now. I've been here. We actually
even better.
Yeah, we actually live in the new development right behind right across from the movie theater. So we're very excited to be here and looking forward to some great things for this program. We're going to register all the children at the Oak Valley Elementary School are all going to become members of the Boys and Girls Club. We're scholarshiping them into the program. We've hired a club director. Club director's already working and going to be conducting recess programming and working with the staff at the school on a daily basis and providing great services for those kids. And then after school, they'll get transported to Hanada Middle School and then providing a wonderful after-school program for the kids. So I want to encourage you to come on out anytime to see the program in action. We'd love to have you there. And again, I want to publicly thank Randy for everything you've done to bring the Boys and Girls Club in your trust in our organization, and we take that very seriously. So with that, I want to thank you.
Thank you very much. We're glad to have you. Thank you.
I probably still owe you a reply on the email. I think
So we'll get a meeting.
Okay.
Sorry. We'll see each other.
I've been juggling lately. I owe an apology.
No worries.
Okay.
No worries.
It's not personal.
It's okay.
Okay.
All righty. We've got Dr. Randall Haggard.
First off, it's nice to meet any of you that I haven't yet had a chance to meet. I just finished my first year as a superintendent for Buellton Union School District, and it has been a pleasure, and I brag all the time about the relationship that we have with the city of Buellton, the best little city in California, and the relationship that we have with our Parks and Recreation and the joint use that we have, I think, is a great example of collaboration between city government and schools. And I think this is another great example, our collaboration with the Boys and Girls Club. It's a real honor to work with Michael and to see services for students who may not have otherwise received those kinds of support services. So it's a pleasure. It's exciting to see that get off the ground. And as we start school next week on Wednesday, hopefully you can come around and take a look at all the great things that are happening at our schools. So thank you, and thank you for your support.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you. Finn?
I don't know if the final word has been set on the parking of RVs, but here's one thing. If you have a dirty piece of junk in the yard, that everybody wouldn't like that. But if it's spit shine, clean, no broken windows, and everything cleaned up around it, you may get a leniency from the city.
Thank you very much. I could use all the input we can get on that one. Alrighty, I don't see any other speaker slips. Nobody else wants to get up and say anything, so I am closing public comment, moving on to the consent calendar. We have a couple of items. We have the minutes of July 27, 2017 City Council meeting, list of claims to be approved and ratified for payment to date for fiscal year 2017-18. And we have the monthly private project balance report through June 30, 2017. I think Mark had was going to make one correction to the minutes.
I'm sorry, I was coordinating a lunch with Dr. Hager.
Good.
Under the RV parking, Peggy Briarton is not opposed to the ordinance. She is in favor with the removal of the 5-foot side yard setback, so we would like that changed in the minutes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Do I have any motion?
I'll move for items 1 through 3, please.
I'll second.
Linda?
Okay, Vice Mayor Andrusik.
Aye.
Councilmember Rife.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
Councilmember Mercado.
Aye.
And Mayor Sierra.
Aye. And your monthly private project balance report, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That it's much easier to see what's going on. All righty, moving on. Any presentations?
No, ma'am.
Any public hearings?
No, ma'am.
Council member comments/items. I'll start at this end today. Councilmember Mercado, anything want to say or want to see come back to council?
Not yet. Everything's good so far.
Okay. Councilmember King, anything for you?
No, I'm going to reserve that for the future, Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Rife.
No, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Andrusik.
It was a pleasure, August the 2nd, to sit on the hillsides in Vandenberg Air Force Base, starting at midnight. At 2:10, a Minuteman III jumped out of the ground, and it was an exciting event. A lot of people had started leaving because it was a window, noon to 6, but midnight to 6, 12
It's a
to
big
6.
window.
12 to 6.
Big window.
But we had Public Affairs hosted it and had a chance to meet Annabeth Jackson's administrative aide in conversation for 2 unobstructed hours.
Good. I
enjoyed it.
Good. I had just 2 comments I'd like. I had some visitors during my mayor's hours, and I just wanted to, for anybody out there listening, 2 issues came up. The first one is Riverview Park, that there are dogs off-leash running around there. We have a dog park if you want to put your dogs off-leash. There is, according to our Public Works Director, the southwestern flycatcher bird. Willow?
Southwest willow flycatcher.
Thank you very much. It's an endangered species, which is why there is a fence around the park. People aren't allowed to go past that fence, and the dogs disturb the poor willow. So Fish and Game has let us know that if we violate rules, conditions of the park, that it could be shut down. So I'm asking our police department to please patrol down there a little bit more often, and please, if you want your dog to run around, take him to our beautiful Paws Dog Park. The other question was the Santa Barbara Koi property on the corner of 246 and McMurray. I purchased it a while back and had wonderful plans for fixing it up, making it one of the beauty spots in Buellton, and he hasn't been able to do that because there is oil on the property, and he and the oil company are still negotiating their
cleanup.
Their
Cleanup of the property.
But they are required to do the
And
cleanup.
they've done some cleanup, but there's still more to go before they can occupy and clean up the site.
Thank you very much. So hopefully that answers a couple questions. And please, unless your dogs are at Paws Dog Park, keep them on a leash. Nothing else? Any written comments?
No, ma'am.
Committee reports? No committee reports? I had a SBCAG North County meeting. They're forecasting the Clean Air Express for the next 25 years. And I had an opportunity to ask Caltrans, per staff's request, to cover the asphalt trucks that are coming from Granite because they're bouncing all over and littering our sidewalks. So that was a big meeting, lasted about a half an hour. Moving on to business items. Business item number 4, discussion regarding creating an ad hoc committee to discuss monthly water meter service fees and monthly wastewater service fees in the city of Buellton. Ms. Hess.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So at the direction of the mayor, we have brought this item forward to you guys today. The item is for the council to discuss creating an ad hoc committee, consist of 2 council members and staff, to discuss the way the rate studies were analyzed, reviewed, and to the conclusions that we had come to that was adopted previously. So with that, I open the floor to discussions by council.
And the reason in November is when the rate increases are scheduled to go up based on your deferral. So if the ad hoc committee would need to meet to make some decisions, then we'd bring back an appropriate resolution of however the ad hoc committee decides.
Okay, so first of all, do we have any questions for staff?
Just, I think because we see how they get, time moves on, we miss, reschedule. Do you think we can have more of a fast track for maybe meeting a couple of times? I don't know how many times they expect to meet, but probably, we met 3 on the...
Well, this will be a fast track because we don't have the consultant doing anything. This is more for the council and staff to discuss where the finances are, and we can have Lynn involved at the meeting to answer questions,
That's
but
what I was going to ask.
it can meet as often as the committee would care to.
Is Lynn?
Lynn Takayashi was the gentleman.
Takanichi.
He did the water and sewer rate study.
Got it.
He was the
Yeah.
expert.
Okay, pre-me, got it, all right.
He's pretty smart in that field.
But you have him on board then to come, or to be available? We can have it,
We could.
is it like retainer, or?
Well, I've contacted him to let him know what we're going to do, that we're proposing an ad hoc committee to go over and discuss. He's busy on some items right now, but he said he'd call me tomorrow so we can discuss further his availability.
Okay.
So
Okay. Any other questions before I open it for public comment? Sure, absolutely.
I have a few, and then it's probably going to add more.
Okay.
Normal Foster. Okay. So the ad hoc committee, as designed, as we discuss it here, is staff and council, period? Did I hear that right?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, so I thought when we initially talked about it, we were talking about having a representative of the commercial district, if you will.
We could do
Well,
that too.
Well,
I thought initially it's also to ensure that council has an understanding of how the study was conducted and the rates were established.
And what we were going to do is do our analysis of the different uses and present that information. But this is the first time we've talked about the ad hoc committee, so we didn't talk about putting anything together until tonight. So it's up to the council to decide what they want as far as
Council can put
committee.
together whatever they want.
No, I understand. That's why I'm asking. So Chanel sent me the depreciation numbers, and the problem is much more acute than I thought. We are definitely in the red. That is a fact. So,
Well, yeah.
guys, hold on. I'm going to clarify.
Before
It appears to be, given the limited amount of statistical sampling that we have to date, that the initial, I think it's probably fairly safe, without 100% certainty, to say that the initial rate increase is not going to be a permanent fix. I think that's fair to say. So the only reason I'm bringing that up is I think we need to. I know that you want to do some kind of knowledge transfer, if you will, from the ad hoc committee to this council before we make any better decisions. But I think at this stage that it's fairly acute to the point where we probably should have a member of the commercial district there, so we can actually talk about, viable courses of action, not to enact upon, but just to discuss in a friendly framework. I don't know. I'll just throw that out there because I'm worried if we go down this road, we're going to do this information session and stuff, and there's a strong potential that we still be red, then we don't raise the rates, and now we're still red, and then the budget comes back around, and here we are again because we essentially kicked the can. So that's Foster's perception of the world as we sit today. So I don't know. I could be wrong, and maybe Mark has a different opinion than I do.
Well, should we open it up for, I don't have any speaker slips for this item, but I'm opening it up for,
If you don't mind. I agree with you, Foster.
this is for questions, not comments right
No,
now.
I'm just saying that I
Okay.
agree with what he says. We probably should have some representative from the commercial community at the same time, so we're not reinventing the wheel and go do ad hoc, and then come back and then say, okay, well, now let's bring somebody in. I mean, at least have somebody there for the discussion.
Well, how about this? What we could do is, maybe it's fair to say, I'm sure we're going to have more than one meeting. So maybe the first meeting is a staff council meeting, and then maybe the second and or potentially third meeting, once we wrap our heads around the problem, we bring in said outside representation to discuss courses of action.
Yeah, I'd go with
I'm not trying to intrude on your process.
No, that's fine. It's, ad hoc
hearing
committees have had
I'm not
public
hearing
members
questions
before,
right
so
now.
that's not how
agree
the,
with that.
Okay.
Okay, questions, not comments, questions, any other questions? Opening
Oh,
it for
those
public
those
comment?
technically weren't
Those
questions.
weren't questions.
Fair enough.
Any public input here? I'm closing public comment then and bringing it back for input.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor. I'm sorry. That's like the second or third time I've done that. I'm sorry.
No, we're good.
Having someone else go.
So we pretty much agreed that the ad hoc is a good idea. We'll meet with staff, and then we will bring in somebody from the
First time.
public,
First time.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Perhaps John Peterson or Steve Licken, since they seem to be the two most concerned businessmen in town. Do I have any volunteers for the two positions in ad hoc? Foster?
I'll volunteer.
Councilmember Rife?
I'd like to volunteer. That way I can kind of get my feet wet and get some better understanding. I see it from kind of perspective of having lived here for over 20 years, but I also have, I think, a commercial side that because of the horse industry and stuff, we have clients now that are within the city that are now paying water rates instead of ag rates. So it's a different perspective. So.
Yes, city manager.
well, once you get to council, they have, the process for adding any of the commercial
Right.
persons you want. You can do that
Right.
during the first
No,
ad
no,
hoc
when-
committee, we
when-
can decide.
Actually, I have complete confidence in my council members and whoever they choose, whoever they want to bring in, I'm totally okay.
And I just want to clarify, it doesn't have to come to council to pick. The
Right.
ad hoc committee can decide who to invite to participate when we have our first committee meeting.
Sounds great. All righty. Thank you very much for volunteering, both of you.
What's the
What you think you're seeing, Foster,
Well,
is kind of scary
Time
stuff.
frame is now.
I was
So
just going to ask.
Yeah.
Rose will talk to Mr. Takachichi and figure out some dates and get a hold of council members Mercado and Rife, and we'll set something up as soon as possible.
So just
Perfect.
for my information and the public's, we moved to November, is it mid-November?
Beginning of November. So we need, that's when the rate increase
Next
is ready
rate
to go.
increase comes.
When in November?
November 1. isn't it?
November 1.
Beginning of November. Okay, so we have September and October
Yes,
and August,
yes.
two-thirds of August.
No, we do realize the time constraints, so we'll get some meetings together as
We also
soon
have to
as
send out a
quickly.
notice and, all righty.
And
Thank
then
you.
that way, every council member will have been in the kitchen with the recipe.
Just about. You started it in the beginning, way back with Manager Kunkel.
With
Me? I think it was me. I'm not sure. I think it was. Anyway, moving on to business agenda item number 5, resolution number 17-14, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Buellton, California, ordering the summary vacation of excess street right-of-way and execution of quitclaim deed relinquishing the excess right-of-way and making findings in support thereof for property located along McMurray Road, abutting Assessor's Parcel Number 137-170-068. Director Hess.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Member City Council. So the property owners of the adjacent property, ZC Commons Holding, has requested that the city vacate and quitclaim approximately 5,400 square feet of unimproved public right-of-way along McMurray Road. For your reference, you have attachments 1 and 2 that shows the property in context. It's this oddly triangular shape. Originally, this property was acquired from the county, from Caltrans, and some other further historical time frames. McMurray Road was supposed to have a different alignment. It's time back when Caltrans still had control of the roadway in that area. Since then, obviously, the city has incorporated. We've finished McMurray Road. The alignment is what it is now to its final state. And during the processing of the Commons project, we had the site and this excess portion reviewed as part of our traffic study as far as the circulation in that area. And even our traffic consultants have agreed that this piece is in fact excess right-of-way, and we would not need it for any future widenings or improvements for McMurray Road. So with that, we have followed the process to do the quick claim and summary vacation for this right-of-way. This was reviewed through the Planning Commission to have a general plan consistency finding, and that was approved by the Commission on June 1st, 2017, with resolution number 17-06, and that's provided as attachment number 3 here as well. So we're asking council tonight to approve the resolution authorizing the summary vacation of the excess street right-of-way and execution of the quitclaim deed relinquishing the excess right-of-way, making findings of support thereof. We're available to answer any questions.
Thank you. So before we go to public comment, if council has any questions for our Public Works Director.
I do. I'm still lost as to the genesis of this.
When the Commons project came to the city with their proposal, they're looking at the entire site for process development. This portion came to the realization that there's this triangular portion that's public right-of-way in that area, and they're proposing that as part of their parking and landscape area. So they do need that portion to fulfill their development plan. And in that review, we aren't requiring or a need to further widen the road at this location or have any other required public improvements.
So we had a legacy right-of-way over that little triangle, if you will?
Right.
Okay. And so, maybe this is a silly question, but why is this before us? Why can't you quit claim this to the Planning Commission and move on?
It's a city property. So, as part of the formal vacation process, the Planning Commission makes the general plan consistency findings, and then it's brought to council for final authorization.
Because that is the law.
Yes.
We inherited this from the county.
Okay. We can't delegate it to them?
No, you cannot.
Okay. Well, I'm trying.
We're glad you're here.
Okay. Copy.
Well,
No more
yeah.
questions. Thank you.
Almost half of the planning commission.
Any other questions for Director Hess?
I think this is more, no, sorry, Mayor. A
comment
if you
or a
don't mind.
question?
No, I do have a question, and I think this is more towards Mark. My copy that came out of the computer is kind of fuzzy, but looking at the photographs on page 51, and I don't know if you have access to that. They're actually renderings, they're not photographs. You know, on that page, Rose?
Yes,
Yeah.
I see it.
It looks like where this dashed line is, that is our piece of property, and this in essence is where the people from Firestone Park overflow, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And looking at the picture on the right-hand side, is that part of their development, their parking and their
No.
driveway?
That is, Firestone is not.
No.
Yeah.
It's,
It is part of the Commons.
The proposed project.
yes.
Okay, so it looks like those are lined out, parking spots, driveway, whatever that is, where this red line is, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
within that red area.
So this is actually part of their project.
Correct.
Right.
So I had kind of a little question on this, is why would this go to the Planning Commission without really knowing that the city council would actually approve that piece of property that was owned by the city?
Because the Planning Commission is not recommending that the city council abandon it. What the state law says is before the city can abandon and quitclaim right-of-way, this planning commission has to make a determination that giving it away is in conformance with the general plan. So they look at the circulation element. We had our traffic consultant look at it and determined that quitclaiming this does not impact our general plan, so it's consistent with our general plan, and that's, the planning commission is charged with that, and then the city council is charged with doing the quitclaim and abandoning the right-of-way.
Right. Irrespective of our general plan, this to me looks like that this was planned out as the project with that property being still under the auspices of the city council and the city of Buellton.
We conditioned the Commons project on abandoning this right-of-way. If this did not occur, if the council decided not to do it, then they would have to redo their development plan. But their condition was, you can use this, but the council has to eventually abandon the right-of-way.
So for all intents and purposes, we're giving them free land for their project.
We're giving them land that is not needed for the city for right-of-way or road purposes, and we are getting the parking, the landscaping, and street frontages.
You can think of it like that, but it's a trade. It's not like what are we going to do with that land, that small triangle of land, if we keep it?
Well, that's true, but I thought it was rather unusual that the development of this was planned out by an engineer or an architects and whatever else, with that property still being within the city.
But again, it's appropriate to condition a project, and it's at their danger if the council decides not to do it, and that's why the condition was placed on it. And I believe, Commissioner Mercado was on the development plan when we put that condition on and told them that, that this is what you have to do, and if you can't do it, then your project's going to have to be changed.
So let me wrap this up by just for the general public. What is the city of Buellton getting out of this? What's our quid pro quo, basically?
Well,
I'll transfer that. So, Dave, think of the quid pro quo as we can keep that small triangle of land, which will probably sit there undeveloped and be absolutely useless for eternity.
Right.
Or we could give it to them, and it will significantly enhance their development, make it much more fluid, add a bunch of parking spaces, and you can see in page 51 of the attachment in the PDF.
Right.
There's that little gray thing. That's a walkway that goes over that cool little bridge. I mean, think about if we kept that land, we're cutting into the pad of the walk. I mean, it's one of their key pieces of their development. So.
Right, I see that. That's why I had a question about that, because it looks like there is a parking lot within that piece of property.
Sure. Piece. We're with you.
Okay.
And maintaining the property, that still would be city's liability and expenditures to maintain that portion.
If we kept it.
If we kept
Right,
that.
I understand that.
As far as
I understand
enforcement
that.
and everything else.
Just my question was why was this tentatively approved while that was still in the city of Buellton? Okay, I would say that I would be in favor of doing this as long as the people that own this piece of property don't put signs up that say you have to be a patron of this development to park here, or we're going to tow you off.
the parking lot that's being developed is for the Commons, not for Firestone, not for anybody else.
I
The
understand
parking
that.
along the street is public parking for anybody.
Well, there's not going to be much of that left once you put that sidewalk into that curb.
Well, there are parallel spaces, at least 5 parallel spaces along that area. But, we can't condition that this be a public parking lot, because this is would be part of the Commons property when it's relinquished.
I kind of liken this to the piece of property of Lelata and Second, the southwest area that
The
usually
church-
is.
the church
usually
owns that,
is-
don't they?
usually- No, I think that's the city's little.
No.
They never gave it to us.
They never followed
No.
through with
Well,
that.
it's been raised high a couple of times each year.
In weeds.
In weeds, yeah.
And
So
we contacted the church for mowing.
So the only question that I have then, because they've talked about the bridge, I was at the planning commission meeting when this was talked about, Is there any way the city's going to have any obligation for the maintenance on this bridge?
Absolutely not.
And that's in writing.
That is correct. It's not our bridge, it's the private.
Private property ownership?
That's correct.
Okay.
Any
Let's
other
get
questions?
expensive.
I was
Okay.
on part of the plan commission at the time, so we looked at it, we thought it was a fair trade to, it's going to enhance the project, and if that project goes to fruition, that it would help the city of Buellton.
Beautifies
Long
it,
term,
too.
it's going to make a big difference, I think.
Okay, so I'm opening this up for public comment. I don't have any speaker slips. No, okay, I'm closing public comment, bringing this back to council for discussion and hopefully a resolution.
I'll make motion to approve.
Second.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Linda?
Councilmember Rife.
Aye.
Councilmember King.
Aye.
Councilmember Mercado.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Andrusik.
Aye.
And Mayor Sierra.
Aye. Thank you guys very much. Let's move on to city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. The Planning Commission will be reviewing the Avenue Flag specific plan at their meeting next week, and assuming it moves on, I will be placing this at the first council meeting in October due to Councilmember Rife's vacation on the second meeting in September. So just so everybody has that on their radar.
Since we're not going to discuss it till October, is there any way we could wait until we had a full planning commission to bring it to them? Or
No, we have the four, and we're not going to have a full planning commission until October because,
I know.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
So I think with the four we have, I think we can move it forward.
Okay.
I did receive positive feedback from FEMA on my notice of intent for the grant for the City Hall emergency generator. So I'll be putting together the formal grant for that, and then we will have generators at both City Hall and the planning office that will take care of the city in an
Congratulations.
emergency.
Good job.
The CERT trailer, we have the supplies, and our emergency consultant was there today stocking it. We still have to find a location for it, but stocking it is the next step, and we're almost complete with that. Again, September 14th meeting is going to be canceled because 3 council members will be up at the league conference. And the Cash for Grass program is up on the website, so people can take advantage of that. And at the next meeting, we will have the property at 480 2nd Street, no, Central. The property the city purchased for discussion on the future of that. So that'll be at the next city council meeting. And then, Rose, can you just give a brief timing of the Caltrans project?
Yes. Caltrans is starting to, we'll expect to have night work for the paving operations. That's going to continue through next week. This time, I just recently received an updated schedule this afternoon from them, and it looks like paving operations should be completed by early the following week, so within 2 weeks for sure, but that's just the paving. Then they still need to go back through to do striping, truncated domes through the handicap ramps, and I mean, there's other pertinent items, but at least as far as the paving operations with the closures and concerns, issues raised, for the traffic through residential areas, that should be complete within 2 weeks.
Rose, I had a question about the intersection, the southbound exit. Did it move the curb they put in the corner? It looked like it got moved over. That was a big step. Was that the main reason all of that got?
I have to
Dug up
recheck the
and-
plans, but I know that there was no way in its
Anyway.
existing format that it would be able to have ADA
Right.
compliance.
But it almost looked like it got realigned a little bit. It looked like there was room to have bigger.
Maybe for the
intersection,
curves,
off-ramps
but-
being used a
right.
lot more. So I thought that was a good thing if that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And is Scooter Lou Adkins Bricks on the walkway yet?
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Not yet?
Yes.
Okay.
It should be soon. I reminded them today that we do have the bricks ready, and Granite's supposed to pick it up. We don't know exactly when they're going to install yet.
And Brian Dunstan is the new chair of the Planning Commission, and Joe Padilla is the new vice chair.
Wonderful. All righty, with that, I adjourn this meeting. I'll see you all back here Thursday, August 24th at 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Done.
I just stole that.